Alright, thanks for watching my video. Today we're going to replace the front wheel on a BMW S1000R. So first thing we'll do is remove the caliper bolts. And that's pretty simple. We're just going to pull the bolts out, and then what I like to do when I grab a hold of that caliper is just give that caliper just a tiny little twist, and that will push the brake pads apart. It'll spread the brake pads apart so you can slide that caliper right off the rotor and past the wheel without worrying about scratching the wheel. Then we jump over to the left side of the bike, and we're going to remove the bolts off of that caliper. And if you're worried about the ABS sensor, it's pretty easy to take a Torx bit and just back that bolt out that holds the ABS sensor in and pull that ABS sensor out. But I doubt you're going to hit the ABS sensor pulling the wheel off the bike. So again, give the caliper a little twist to spread the pads, and then the caliper will slide right off your brake rotor, and then just let it hang. Then jump over to the right side, and with your Torx bit, go ahead and loosen the pinch bolts on the right side of the bike. Do not loosen the pinch bolts on the left side of the bike. With the pinch bolts on the right side of the bike loosened, we can then turn the axle, and the axle will back its way out of the fork. So there's the axle out. We'll just lay that down on the floor on the right side of the bike. If there are any spacers, always put your spacers right side, left side, left side. So that's the wheel off. So now let's go ahead and put the front wheel back on the bike. So what I like to do is clean out the seals, the bearing seals. And then I take Lubrimatic marine grease and I put a light coat of grease inside that bearing seal. And we're not lubing it for actual lubrication. What we're doing is protecting the bearings, the seals, the inner wheel from dirt, debris, water, moisture, whatever might get past those seals. So marine grease is a good preventative. Yes, it's a lubricant, so those bearings, when it's the bearing seal, when it's turning on the spacers or turning on the axle like on this bike, it's not going to prematurely wear out that bearing seal. And then we're going to put a light coat of grease on the axle, and again, this grease isn't for lubrication. The grease on the axle is to allow that axle to come out easily next time we take the bike apart. And again, you know, mainly to just prevent corrosion or any kind of damage should moisture get into this front wheel. Not as much for lubricant. So now we're going to lift up our wheel, and the spacer on the left side of the bike, you can lift the wheel and stick the wheel on that spacer, and I usually put my foot underneath the tire to hold it up and kind of balance it while I push the axle through. And then you just start cranking it down and hoping that the threads mesh up. This one was playing games with me, and it took a little coaxing for those threads to finally line up. And maybe you'll have better luck than me on the first try, but you know, you just keep cranking and finally it'll fall into place. So as you watch, you see it's finally caught, and the axle's slowly going into the fork now. So this bike got a fresh set of S1000Rs. Very decent tire. This is very mountainous, twisty road area of North Carolina. And we're just going to get this axle snug. We're not going to super torque it down right now. And then if you see any grease coming out of the axle or out of the seals or anything, that's a good time to wipe it down as well. And then we jump over to the left side, and we're going to install the calipers on the left side first, and then the caliper on the right side after this one's installed. So see how easily that caliper slid on, and make sure to get the little retaining bracket for the ABS sensor lined up with the bolt for the caliper. And if you did loosen the ABS sensor, once your caliper is installed, go ahead and tighten that screw down for your ABS sensor. So I'm tightening down these calipers. I'm doing hand tight first, and then I'm going to hook my torque wrench up to it. So I don't give torque specs in my videos. You can look those up easy enough online for your bike. They're pretty well available for this bike. This is a pretty popular bike. Then we jump over to the right side. We put our right caliper back on. And again with the caliper bolts, get them tightened down finger tight, and then we're going to put our torque wrench on it again. So typically when I torque, I do each bolt twice, and then I come back and do each bolt once. And I always make sure that it's good torque. So this is a little trick here. If you spin the front wheel and grab a handful of brake, spin the front wheel, grab a handful of brake, that will bring your front end into alignment, believe it or not. That is an easier way and a better way than jumping up and down on the front of your motorcycle. So now that we have our calipers on and they're torqued down, we need to jump over to the axle, and we're going to torque down that front axle. Click, click. And next we're going to torque down our pinch bolts. Click, click on the pinch bolts, click, click. So what I like to do here is I like to do each side 3 times. So I'll do the outer till it clicks, the inner till it clicks, the outer till it clicks, the inner till it clicks, the outer till it clicks, the inner till it clicks. And even though we didn't touch the left side, it's not a bad idea to put your torque wrench on and make sure that these are torqued to the proper torque specs as well. So thanks for watching my video. This is the end. Please give me a thumbs up if you like it.